What is going on, everybody? This is Drew here. I want to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Phoenix Down. This is Phoenix Down 126.1, and we are continuing and finishing our playthrough of Fobia, St. Dinfna Hotel. Dinfna.
We're not saying this in the game because we don't know how to say it either.
They never say it. They never say it.
No, they do not.
So, whatever. We got Anthony here.
Hello.
And yeah, we 2 weeks off. Is that what?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I apologize. Just life circumstances. Well, no, I mean, like, just as an explanation. Too. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I apologize for the delay. We would have been through this sooner, but it just I caught COVID, you know. So.
And I also got sick. I had a hardcore sinus infection.
Like, just bad luck all around.
Yeah. But
the cursed hotel got us.
That's what it was. We didn't have our
gas mask on.
Gas mask on. Yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, we left off right before the first boss fight. So that's not halfway through the game. In fact, I don't know.
No, halfway. I would argue that halfway.
Is the
halfway the piano boss. Yeah, because after that you basically get free reign of the hotel, although there's still some stuff you have to do before you activate the whole going beyond the point of no return.
Right.
Like there's some stuff that you have to, like there's a sequence where the guy shows up in the foyer and yeah, there's some stuff that happens, but it's pretty inconsequential. It's just, there's a little bit after him, and then you have the second portion of the game, plus there's the flashback stuff that I'm going to be honest with you. The flashback stuff, gameplay-wise, was fine, because it just broke up the time spent in the hotel, but in storytelling way, like, was kind of useless.
Yeah.
That like one of them matters and the rest of them you could just totally not have in the game and you wouldn't lose any aspect of it. I think it's just to break the monotony of going through the same environment.
Yeah. Because we all
Which is not a bad environment. I want to make that clear. Like, I'm not complaining about the hotel. It's just I think it was one of those, we're doing it because we think it should be in a game, not doing it because it's actually helpful to what we're doing in the game.
Yeah, I feel like the developers had to try and tell the story, and they did it in those flashbacks. I don't know. Like, at the end of this game, I couldn't necessarily tell you what happened. I have an idea.
So I'm going to ask a question now, because I have bad luck when I recommend games. What did you think of it?
Oh, it's fine. I think it's a totally decent game. I think it had some unique puzzles. I don't think the combat was great. The exploration was really well done, but I mean, everything's connected. I will give it that. Now, it's not just, you get on an elevator and there's like a loading screen. No, it's all almost real time, and there's totally floors that you can just take the stairs down and you're there.
Yeah, eventually you can just go up and down the staircases.
Yeah. With the exception of, like, I think the 4th and 5th floor, I think you can't.
Yeah, you have to go through one of you have to wind through the rooms to go up 2 flights of stairs, then wind back through the rooms to go back up the last 2 or whatever.
Yeah. So I feel like the level design was really good, Well,
that's what impressed me. I feel like when we reevaluate games I've played before, I get a little defensive, but, in this particular scenario, I got this game blind, right? It was handed to me as a review. I looked at like a screenshot and said, you know what, I'll take it. Why not? It'll be my second sort of horror review game. So to find an indie title that does those elements well, which I think are the elements that are generally not done very well in like Resident Evil clones, because that's what this is at the end of the day, really.
Uh-huh.
Was it super impressive, because you could fix the combat there's ways to fix the combat that
Yeah.
like doing more damage, right? Not having to use as much bullets.
Yeah.
Which is a small numerical tweak. You can't save a poorly plotted game in terms of like actual physical area without redoing an entire game.
Yeah. This is paced really well, I think.
There's a couple moments where I was kind of like, this is not great. There's a specific chase scene in a hallway that is not clear of what should be happening, so I sort of fought the chaser head on.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. When you have to go back through, like, where the floor has fallen in.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know where to go. Like,
well, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Like, he throws the game. I think it's just unclear that he throws you behind him clearly as you should be moving away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But that works a bit against everything else, everything other games have taught you, right?
Sure.
Like, generally, you don't... When the bad guy... Like, Mr. X doesn't ever really touch you, right? And when he does, it is... You know it's time for conflict, and to actually fight him. So when the chaser in this game throws you, it feels like the start of combat, but it's not. Which is a little against everything other games have taught you how to feel, I feel like, anyways.
Yeah.
I know what they were trying for, though. They were clearly trying, like, stay away, keep your distance, but, like, it doesn't show great. But, I mean, also, it doesn't... When you stun him, like, when you do pump enough rounds into him to stun him, it's, like, pretty clear that, like, this is not where the fight should be. Because that happened to me. I actually did that.
Damn, I didn't have enough ammo for that.
Oh, I definitely had enough machine gun and shotgun ammo to do it the first time around.
I feel like once the hotel opened up to me, like where I could go into the rooms that I couldn't, that's when I started getting a good amount of ammo. Like once I went to the underground, I had no issues. No, I was freaking Leon S. Kennedy in Resident Evil 4. I've got tons of ammo for you. But up until that point, it was slim pickings for me.
I don't remember having an issue, but I will take your word for it because unfortunately I didn't manage to get all the way through the second time around just because of, COVID. This is the reality of it. Just wiped me out, so I just didn't have the energy and the mental capacity to do some of those puzzles again.
Some of those puzzles are freaking hard. Some of those puzzles, I did some of the optional puzzles, and I was just like, how? Like,
I never felt like the puzzles made me... I never felt like the developer was trying to make me feel stupid.
No.
I just think they were, like...
hard brain teasers.
Hard, yeah.
Yeah. But there were some that were just like... So I did the
impossible.
Convoluted... Yeah, I did some of the convoluted, like, the gear puzzle. And I did use a fact for that one because I was like, look, I've got these gears. I just need to get one more. What do I do with them? And I followed the fact for that one. And I'm like, dude, this is... Obviously, this was like the game-long puzzle that you were constantly getting stuff for. There were codes that you had to decipher from a piece of paper that you got at the beginning of the game, and I was like, "What?"
You had to keep everything.
You had to keep it.
Well, they're nice at least where they let you keep the papers like free of an inventory space.
Yeah. So the one thing, the very beginning of the game, we mentioned in the last recording, the very beginning of the game, you got that like a date calendar,
the triangle, yeah,
the triangle thing. That's used.
The Toblerone. That's what I was saying. It's used again.
Yes. And I figured out, I was like, oh, I know what to do with this. So I went and got it from my stash and used it. And I got like this really freaky, like out of body experience thing where like you were in like this endless pit, like void. And when you continued walking forward, there was like the hotel would pop up out of the ground, and you'd walk around it, and there was also this giant timer in the sky that was constantly counting down.
Interesting. So
yeah,
I never got that because I knew, I don't remember what I did with it, but I did something with it and didn't have it, and was like, God damn it! I immediately saw what it was, and like it's clearly like you know where to use this item, and I remember looking at it and going, shit.
yeah.
I'm like, I guess that wasn't necessary because I'm gonna keep going now. But like,
Yeah,
God damn it,
it's optional. It's like this weird out of body experience where you kind of, it's kind of revealed that
what Dinfna means.
No, like you. It's like you're you, but then you're going through the body of Christopher, the bad guy.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, okay, I get it now. But I mean, it was just, I guess it tried to add a little flavor. I don't know, but I figured it out though, and I was like, I'm glad I kept that in my stash the whole time. So, but yeah, first boss we run into is the Spider Queen. This boss was janky.
This boss, though, this boss didn't cause me nearly as many problems. It's janky, and but like, oh my god, we'll talk about Billy Joel.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, we can just talk about it. I'm not.
Okay, so the spider boss. Yeah, this game. This game is a lot of going through rooms and solving puzzles, and it's kind of hard to talk about.
Yep. Go back to the 8th floor, and then go back to the 5th floor, and
you now have the key card. Do you remember all the places that the key card was needed? Like, okay, yeah.
Nope.
You know, and I do like the fact that it's not constantly repopulating the floors. It does that a bit, but it usually does it a little bit more artistically, where you're like, okay, like a guy is in a room standing up already. It's not like, oh, all the dead bodies are just randomly lying on the ground now. There's a bit of that, but nowhere near as much as I thought there was going to be. I thought this game was going to be bad.
Oh man, I gotta tell you about this. It reminded me of it. You've played Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yes.
Have you played Resident Evil 1 Remake?
A bit.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about, the red skeletons.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or the red zombies, yeah.
The
red skeleton, yeah.
Crimson Heads.
Crimson Heads, yeah, and then it's red skeletons in Castlevania. It's the same concept.
Oh my god, it's so good. The first time I ran into that, yeah, you kill the zombie and they still laying there, and you don't know to burn the body or destroy the head. And in some instances you can't, like once because the way that the controls work, if you let a zombie get up close to you with a shotgun, you can aim upwards and shoot them in the head, and it blows their head off. They're dead forever. But if you kill the zombie,
funnily, that's how it works in real life too.
This is true. But if you kill a zombie, the body stays there unless you burn it. And if you leave and come back probably 30, 40 minutes of gameplay time, he gets back up and bum rushes the living shit out of you. And it's scary as hell.
Especially to someone who's played the game before and wasn't expecting that, I'm sure.
I mean, oh man. So good. Because that stuff didn't exist. That was a new addition to the remake. Yeah. And there's this great part, like, because the way they use the camera angles, because it's still static camera angles, there's a hallway, and there is a full body mirror in the corner, and you're not going down that hallway, but it turns the corner and you'll go down that hallway eventually. They did a fantastic job because the mirror was real time, and you could see they had basically made it to where you killed this zombie in that hallway, and if you left it there, it would turn into a crimson head. Well, you're on the opposite end of the hallway, and you can't see around the corner, but you can hear them running, and like you can use the mirror to see it just bum rushing you. And I was like, oh shit, it's gonna come around this corner. It's so good. It's so good. Oh man, Resident Evil 1 Remake is great. But anyway, back to Fobia. Dinfna. Yeah, Spider Queen was glitchy because, like, so it would climb up on the ceiling, and I'm in another room, and it would just, like, spit poison, and the poison would just kind of clip through the door jamb and hit me anyway. And then sometimes it would just, like, crawl through it.
That's a feature.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, like, the geometry of the spider doesn't interact with the environment fully.
No, it can do whatever it wants.
Yeah,
it's like a Dark Souls boss.
Dark Souls interacts with the environment better, I think.
No, maybe, but this, I don't know. I did die a couple of times here, mainly because I ran out of ammo. So
I died, I think, once to the spider. Well, I died a lot more to Piano Man.
Yeah, I did too. The
Piano Man did it. Again, combat was not the strength of this game. I appreciated that it was there and that it wasn't the worst fucking thing in the face of the planet. But Piano Man can get fucked. I liked the design. I thought it was kind of an interesting thing that you can hear the piano being played earlier on in the game, and then you end up in that room that you could look down into previously and hear the piano, and then he just shows up, and I'm like, okay, cool, and then there's very little places for you to go, and he can just fucking hit you wherever you are.
Yeah, jumps everywhere.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it took a lot of bullets.
I think I ended up cheesing this and kind of getting him stuck.
Yeah, I had him in between the piano and me.
Oh, so I had him on the other side. I think I had him somehow get to a point where he wasn't jumping as much because he was kind of underneath the little bit of the ledge that you know, so I just remember unloading bullets on him. He eventually unhooked himself and was jumping around again, but by that point I had done enough damage. But yeah, I remember one time I was like, okay, I'm gonna tuck myself into the corner and just shoot from here and kind of like try to avoid getting hit, and it did not work.
Yeah. I did get a couple of jump scares in this one. It was mainly because I had cleared out this area and came back to it, and I wasn't expecting, another monster to be there.
Yeah, and they position them around corners in a way where you're like, I'm good, I'm fine. Oh, shit, okay. There's one later on in the basement where you open the door and it's like a conference room, and there's a little bit of the stage at the front. It's like a wide room. Like, it's really weird because there's like a door on either end of this wide room, and then there's the conference board on the wide part of the wall. So you don't get as many people seated, but there's a wide screen essentially to look at.
Yeah.
I open up the door, and then there's like a zombie around the corner, kind of up the stairs on this small little stage. And as I went into the room, he rushed at me, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yep. By that point, by the time I made the underground, I had already upgraded my shotgun to be like,
it was
a one-hit kill.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a pretty quick fight, but it still was like, "Oh god damn it!"
Yeah. And then eventually, you have to get chased by Rock Lobster when he goes into that conference room with you.
Yeah.
And I just kind of walked around the podium, and he stared at me. What is this podium thing? I can't get by it.
The inconveniently small net. Kung Pao, everybody.
That's right.
It's a brilliant movie.
Yep. But after beating the Piano Man, there's a little bit more to it. Eventually, you're trying to reach Stephanie. She's on the 8th floor, or we thought she was on the 8th floor.
She's a lying bitch.
Oh man, he gets so mad at her.
That's where the acting's a little rough.
Yeah. Sees him on the security camera, and she's like leaving him. He's like, "You left me here. I'm not listening to you anymore." And she's like, "Okay, well, get out yourself then." And it's just like, what? Like, this is the only person that has been helping you this entire time. So I don't know.
He's a men's rights activist now. We've lost him.
Oh no. But I don't know. Yeah, the acting is not the greatest.
But it's not. I wouldn't say it's bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just I feel
it's
like
serviceable.
The written dialogue,
yeah,
I think, is what's bad.
That's you know what? That's the best way to put it. The lines and the lines aren't so bad. They're good, like funny, stupid. You know, like early PS1, like almost were a Jill sandwich.
Yeah,
you're the master of lock picking, or whatever. Oh my god, there's so many.
The master of unlocking.
A master of unlocking. Oh yeah, master of unlocking. It's such a bad line. It's what is a man?
Yeah.
I actually prefer the retranslation of that. I know that's horrible to say, but I prefer the version that's a little bit more serious and not a miserable pile of secrets. Like, I prefer better voice acting. I can't. The cheese is only so good for so long.
You know what's crazy is that a year later, after Symphony of the Night came out, Metal Gear Solid came out, which had amazing voice acting and dialogue.
Yep.
I don't know. It's the same, not the same developer, but, same company.
Yeah, same company. It's very weird.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, yeah, we got to go through a little bit more.
Some more flashbacks. The biggest complaint I have about the flashbacks is really they're just walking around.
Pretty much.
Walk to a point, hit a button, walk to another point, hit a button.
Yeah.
And, that's fine if the plot was a bit better. Again, it's okay because it breaks up the monotony of going through the hotel and kind of, it kind of marks an end of a chapter. But, yeah, I never really liked the flashback stuff. I don't think it impacted me. Mm-hmm. The last one? You're talking the one where you go into the mine?
No, the before that, the village.
Oh, yeah, that
it was just long.
It's long and not fun.
Yeah, and you're just searching for those
Do a thing,
pieces.
all arbitrarily, now the gate is open.
So,
okay. All right. I mean, this game feels out of time. Visually it says this is made for, not current consoles, but current consoles. You know what I mean? But, some of the game design stuff is we have not moved past PS1.
I don't know. That's... but I know we sound down on it, but I still enjoyed my time with it.
That's my thing. Maybe it's because I know that this was built out of passion. Because it didn't light the world on fire. It wasn't sold for a huge price. I mean, it could have been Quantum Error,
Yeah.
Not to shit on Quantum Error unnecessarily, but that was a team of 4 people that made Quantum Error, and the way they conducted themselves online made it hard for anyone to want to root for them, except for very specific fanboys. Here's a team that's pretty quiet as far as I know. I've never really heard anything about the studio before or after.
Yeah.
They have a B-tier publisher, and they sell the game for $40 new. And that meant that you knew over time it was going to become less and less money. How much do you spend on this, Drew?
$10.
I'm sorry, this is exactly kind of what I would expect for $10 from a horror game.
Yeah, I would have paid more for it.
But what I'm saying is there are other games that are trying to follow in the footsteps of Resident Evil, Silent Hill. I can't think of other horror game that people try to... those are the two that people try to emulate, right?
Sure.
More than anything.
Yeah.
I guess Amnesia, was, because Outlast is basically taking Amnesia's concept and doing something different with it. I'm not criticizing, I'm not saying they're stealing. But there's like maybe like three sort of formulas to horror games that are followed by a bunch of indie devs, and generally I feel like you're getting an indie dev who doesn't really get it. And I think these guys at least get it. I think they understand the fundamentals. Resident Evil isn't... When Resident Evil decided to get rid of puzzles, and I mean, like, that's what, Resident Evil 5, where you have, like, kind of no puzzles anymore?
For the most part.
It lost a big part of its character. And Silent Hill, they started being like, well, people like the Pyramid Head stuff. Like, that's not why people liked Silent Hill. Silent Hill is built with atmosphere, which I think this game has, and, like, because combat's not, like, the standout aspect of Silent Hill, and tons of puzzles. The combat is fine. Like, it works. Could Fobia be better? Like, is Fobia at Silent Hill 1's level of combat? No. I think the gold standard for combat is Resident Evil. Whether you're playing the remake, which just where I experienced it, but like, or the original, because I've also played the DS remake of Resident Evil. Could it be better? Yeah, but like, they nailed the puzzle aspect, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that's where they spent most of their time.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe to a fault, right? Like, maybe there's too many puzzles. Maybe we should pull back on the puzzles a bit and make the combat feel a bit better. But I do like the puzzles. I don't want you to get rid of them. I'm sorry, that's really fascinating to me. That they were like, here's an aspect that a lot of people don't do. Because, like, a lot of those PS1 retro games, I find, are more interested in making it look, and, like, those, like, Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and not making it feel like Resident Evil or Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, there's this weird charm to this game that I despite its flaws, because this is based off of our criticisms of it, still kind of made me love it. I don't know what the fuck happened in this game. I'm sorry, like, to this day, I kind of have a vague idea that, like, experiments were going on, and, like,
time travel
and shit. But, like, if you ask me, like, to tell you if this was a coherent story, I'm gonna be like, no.
Not really.
Not really.
I'm gonna do my best to.
It feels like thank God, because to me, it felt like a very early first draft.
Sure.
Which is funny, because all the dialogue is written, right? Like, that's not generally how you would expect a first draft to go. Like, you would expect the first draft to be a pretty rough outline, story-wise, and not have any dialogue, and then as you work the dialogue, the story would get fleshed out. But it's not.
Yeah.
Like, other than what the main character's kind of dealing with. But, like, do they explain why he's special? I don't remember that.
So you talking about the Roberto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so when we leave the hotel...
Yeah, sorry. We'll go back to the gameplay, I suppose. Yeah, go... Eventually you hit a point of no return. And it's straight out of Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, they do. If you leave here, you're never coming back.
But it's also a basement that is also a secret laboratory. Come on.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, it's a laboratory below the below the hotel, I guess. So when we leave the hotel, we do a flashback of Christopher. Now, if we remember, Christopher was back in like the 1920s or 30s, somewhere around there. And Christopher is going through this village, like a mining village, and through these little flashbacks and echo memories, people talking and stuff like that, we see that Christopher was kind of like this wealthy guy who started a mining expedition. He had basically hired this village to dig in this mine for some reason, and he goes crazy and decides he's going to kill everybody in the village because they had found what he had been looking for,
As
which
you
was this artifact. I don't know,
the tetrahedron, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
The power upgrade things that you get or look like the thing too.
Yeah, and this thing, I don't know if it's alien technology or ancient civilization technology, whatever. But he goes nuts for it, almost like an eldritch horror kind of thing, where like he's got this power and it makes him go mad, and he kills everybody in the village, and he takes that power for himself. After that flashback, we're now in the underground, which is full of like laboratory experiments. There's computers down there, but there's also a lot of old stuff, so I don't know how old this place is.
Yeah, I think it to me, when you turn the camera on and it shows you the past, it felt World War II-ish.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, visually, anyways. I can't say for certain.
Maybe in the 1960s?
Yeah,
they were still doing lobotomies in the 60s?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. That,
Yeah.
what, 60s is probably right. Yeah, that weird era where we were like, if you think about it, it wasn't that long ago, but they were doing some real fucked up stuff.
Oh, they were, yeah. Lobotomies didn't end until the 70s.
I mean, wasn't JFK's sister lobotomized?
Yes.
Yeah, Kennedys are not good people.
I think back in the 50s.
Yeah, yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, but yeah. So this laboratory where they were doing these experiments, they were creating this monster that they deemed Achilles, is what they called him. We know him as Rock Lobster.
It's Rock Lobster.
Yeah.
They can call. By the time they give him a name, the player, have already decided to give him your own.
Yes. So we got Rock Lobster and we got Billy Joel.
Sing us a song in the Piano Man.
I hate that song.
He must have been good because he died young.
God.
I love that song.
Yeah. I hate Piano Man. I hate that song.
You know what? I hate Piano Man, not for Billy Joel's sake, just that I've heard it way too many fucking times.
Yeah. I don't know. But the underground is where we start to see like what they've been doing with this technology.
I just need to say this. Every time you say underground, my brain wants to put digital in front of it.
Digital Underground?
Yes. And my brain starts to go to Humpty Dance.
Oh boy.
I don't know why, but that's where my brain is going.
The laboratory.
Yeah, so well, you can say underground. I just needed to say that out loud so you understood if there's like a big pause before I say something else.
That's fine.
I'm going to be honest. The notes throughout the hotel aspect of this game didn't compel me to read them a lot. Outside of like, is there information on a puzzle? The notes in the underground section, not that there's like it's not like there's a ton of lore. It's not Control in that sense. I was more interested in knowing what the hell was happening down here. Yeah. Because, like, it's clear some messed up stuff. Like, there's blood. There's bodies. I'm just, what? So, I just kind of wanted to know, like, what happened?
My only question is like, we're using this technology, this alien technology, whatever it was. Why does it turn people into monsters?
And why that design of monster?
Right?
This
looks more like something from like Arkham Horror.
That's the reason why I'm saying, like, the plot wise, I didn't see how it was all cohesive. Why the spider creatures?
Don't know.
Right? Like, I can buy the connection between the spider creatures and the zombies, Or I can buy the connection between the zombies, the mask guy, and Piano Man.
Sure.
But I can't buy the connection between all of them.
I don't know.
Right? Like, we're either going into the whole body horror aspect, because the zombies do have a pretty interesting, unique design. But not just zombies. They have these weird, like, their rib cages are open and stuff. Like, they got this really weird, messed up design. A design I actually like. You just see too much of it.
Yeah.
So it kind of loses its impact.
Mm-hmm. They remind me of the regenerators from Resident Evil 4.
I'm not familiar with that, so I apologize.
Oh,
but
man.
I will take your word for it. I just think, like, if you look at them and then you look at the spider creatures, the small ones, and the boss, I see the direct line, but, like, the spider creatures aren't built off of people, right? So,
Sure.
like, okay, Eldritch Horror, there's, the bodies of people start to look more like the Eldritch Horror of the spider creatures. Fine. But then, like, Piano Man shows up, and he's different looking. And I'm like, okay, so, like, this thing kind of just messes with the body, then, whatever's going on. But then, like, Rock Lobster, like, it doesn't... I trust that the developers built all these designs, because I don't recognize any of them. I feel like you would see the zombies elsewhere if they were bought assets. You know what I mean? I'm not saying bought assets are a bad thing. Not everything is an asset flip that uses bought assets. But I don't know how you make things that are so different. Like, the gas mask alone on Rock Lobster separates him from even Piano Man.
Yeah.
It's weird. And, like, they never really explain... But, like, I can tell that they have the gas mask on him, so you relate him to the little girl, but the little girl doesn't really relate to the zombies. Which don't relate to the spiders either, then, because it's just... It feels like this... Here's the reason why I gave this an 8 or an 8.5. I don't remember what it was. I think it may have been an 8.5. This game screams potential. And this is a studio's first game, and I knew it wasn't going to get a lot of coverage. I really enjoyed my time with it, too. Is there faults? Yes. But in terms of a studio's first game, there's AAA studios that put out worse shit.
Oh, yes.
a Fobia 2 that fixes the problems could be an amazing, like, a perfect game, in my opinion. Keep the puzzle design, work on your combat and your story writing, and in turn, with combat, your monster designs. I think they have something. Because they understand atmosphere. Like, going through the labs felt entirely different than moving through the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
I'm sorry. I keep sidetracking you from getting to the point, and I'm not trying to, but it's just going through. So I actually had technical issues going through the labs.
Really?
Yeah, I had some weird bugs happen, but I think that is because I'm playing on an OG Xbox One, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of that, I think, so I had to keep what I figured out was, if I had stopped the game and put it on, like, hiatus, you know what I mean? Like, turn the console off so it's in power saving mode,
mm-hmm.
and then restart the game, I think that's what led to it.
I think it's like a memory leak kind of thing?
Yeah, because it would be like a weird... The game wouldn't crash, but there would be, like, these weird graphical bugs. Like, half the... Like almost like a... You know when a YouTube video is, like, loading wrong? And, like, you get, like, sometimes, like, blocks of color and stuff?
Okay.
That was happening with the game. I've only ever seen it with this game. And I think I mentioned it in my review, but I specifically said I'm playing on, like, an OG Xbox. And, like, sometimes I would, shut the console down but not turn the game off. I wouldn't have that issue if I turned the game off, right? And then restarted the game. So it was a little weird that way, but like I still think that was my hardware rather than the game, because once I would restart it, the game didn't have any issues. So if you didn't run into any of those, then I'm going to say it was my console.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I never ran into, aside from like the monsters maybe clipping through the environment or something like that.
That's standard jank. I kind of stopped looking at that in games and just going like, okay, unless it was like trying to go for hardcore realism, I try not to like talk about like, because you know what, like it's hard enough in most games now because they're open world, because this is sort of open world, that like inevitably stuff is going to end up in places it shouldn't. But for an indie team especially, like, yeah, the zombies kind of clipping through the door frame, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I hate. Is that sad that that's where the state of the game industry is? Where I just go, fuck it, that's just part of games now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've had clipping issues since the N64. So
I mean, the N64 is king. You clip through walls, and you end up at the end of the game. That's how they fucking speedrun Zelda.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, the Underground. I actually like the Underground a lot because now don't get me wrong. I like the hotel too. The hotel was very large, but was connected very well. The laboratory areas are connected very well too, but they're not as big, so it's more like a kind of like a mini dungeon would be the best way to describe it.
Very claustrophobic.
Yes.
Like, the way they block off areas with fallen debris felt very... I know this sounds so stupid. It felt very different than the debris that was in the hotel. It felt like something bad happened rather than just age deteriorating a wood hotel. You know, the wooden frames of the hotel deteriorate different, and like a fire and a monster ripping through a hotel would be different than a monster ripping through a concrete and metal lab.
Yeah.
And yeah, the things that block your way feel different. And then, of course, the key cards and stuff, and the way that some of the rooms you like to clip, like, the intersection between the path is blocked off with debris, so you're going through the lab rooms.
Yeah.
And it never felt like I got used to the like, it wasn't like I never knew where I was going, but I always was a little uncertain on where I was exactly.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Like I was, because there is that chase sequence through the labs, and you got to get back to where you can drop all that stuff on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, oh crap! I turned right. Should I have turned left? And I don't know, because I knew where I needed to go, but I was like, how do I get there? But yeah, going through the laboratory area, you got to get these different key cards. You got to get like access rights for the key cards.
I love that, the fact that they made their little like fake operating system on the computer and stuff. I'm sorry, that'll always get me. Like Prey does that really well too. Just these fake operating systems are designed for a reason the way they are, and anytime somebody makes a fake one, I'm sold. Just thank you. That is a weird thing that like most video games don't do, right? It's usually just like pictures, you hit the button and the stuff automatically happens, and like no, you can go through files.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that shit.
The one of my favorite things is you get the USB drive, and you get the little animation of him putting it in, pulling it out, putting it in, pulling it out, putting it in again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this game has like these weird moments where I'm just like, these guys really cared. Like, why would you put that in? You know what I mean? Like, it's like a throwaway, but it's just like, yeah, because like you would do that. It's I don't know. I appreciate this game on a level that I don't appreciate a lot of games.
Yeah. And there's tons of references to Resident Evil and Silent Hill in it, so.
You probably caught more of those than I did because I don't have as much history with those.
So you can find a green herb in a bathroom.
I remember that one. That one stands out.
Don't eat this;
obviously.
It's poisonous. So, but yeah, there's a few of those here and there. And there's actually one. There is an achievement called "This Is Not a Bug," and on the 8th floor, right there, where that where you go up the stairs to the door that you've been trying to get into this whole time. If you look to the right of the door along the wall, there is a lamp with a lampshade just floating there. And just in that spot, there is an invisible pathway that you can walk up onto the wall. And there's a note on top of the lampshade saying, "This is not a bug." And then you can walk back down.
What is that a reference to?
Nothing. It's just
really?
there. Yeah, it's just there. They threw a bunch of stuff in there.
So the other thing is, like, unfortunately, I don't speak Portuguese or read Portuguese because there's a couple notes that aren't translated that are just in the environment.
Yeah.
That you can just look at on the floor. I ended up translating one of them, and it references the fact that later on the bookcases move.
Really?
Yes. Now, if you look at the bookcase, you can see the door behind it early on, and it's pretty obvious based on kind of the setup of the area. But like, yeah, that office that's behind the bookcases, it references the fact that like the statue's been moved or whatever. And I was just like, that's such a weird, neat thing to do. Because it's totally something you could walk by. I just happen to see it because I think the statue sort of points at it, but it's not translated in English at any point. Because it doesn't need to be. It's not, it doesn't actually help you. Like, there's something in that room already that tells you that it's there. So, I don't know. It's fascinating stuff where, like, they do these little small details, and I'm just like, why would you ever do that? By the way, the answer to that, I don't know who figured it out, the answer to that stupid drawer puzzle is on a painting.
Really?
Like the room below or above, yeah. I ended up looking it up after last week because I was just like, I need to know if this is just them fucking with me. Because if Dustin can figure it out, you couldn't figure it out, and I can't figure it out, I'm going to assume it's just bullshit. No, it's in a different room.
Yeah.
How it looks familiar, I don't know, but that could be a translation issue.
That's part of the gear puzzle.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The gear puzzle spans like all of the hotel. And like at the end that you have to do like this code that reads Fobia. And like it's like this like really like I wouldn't say futuristic, but like way more high tech than anything else in this hotel.
Huh.
And it's almost like you're putting in like detonation codes or something. It's weird. But,
okay.
Yeah, I mean it's long. Like it took me like an hour to do all of it.
It's shit like that that's impressive to me. Yeah. I just wish the payoff was a bit better on those.
Yeah, the only thing you get is an achievement.
Well, it's not even that. Like, even when you solve other puzzles, it's like, here's some more ammo, here's an upgrade thing. You know, yeah. in Resident Evil, if you did something like that, it'd give you a better gun.
True.
Right? And there's only, 5 weapons in this game?
Pistol, machine gun, shotgun, and then handgun. Like the revolver.
Right, yeah, and then, because the other thing is the camera. Right, okay.
Yeah.
And they tease you with guns throughout this game.
Yeah, you get ammo for them before you get the gun.
No, not even that. There's the moment before the spider fight or whatever, you see the antique guns.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck you.
And there you
go. That should have one shot in it, and it just KOs whatever it shoots. Yeah. I'm stealing that from one of the John Wick movies. where he puts together the antique gun, turns around, shoots one guy, and that's it. He just put together this gun to shoot one guy.
Yeah. But, yeah. Jeez, what else?
We were in the basement, and we're about to... It's time to fight Rock Lobster.
Like, you talking about the very end?
Well, I mean, unless you want to... Like, we dropped the thing on him after the chase.
Yeah. Then we got to go lower levels of it, if you remember. And you have to go, like, activate those... Like, they're on different levels. It's almost like a little maze in there. But yeah, after that, Rock Lobster's gone. He took off all his clothes for some reason. When we come back up.
He didn't want to give you the advantage, or he was trying to intimidate. I don't know.
But, yeah. We see through the security cameras that earlier Stephanie has went through this giant door that we saw at the very beginning of the underground. So
yeah.
We know where we need to go. So we got to activate all those nodes to open the door, and go open the door, and we get bombarded with ammo. I'm talking like, oh my god, I had like 80 shots of the shotgun.
And I already had ammo.
I did
like,
too.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the reason why, like, I wrote in my review that I'm like, it really just keeps giving you shit. Like, eventually, like, I don't know if I want to say early on I still had a lot of ammo. The boss fights were always a problem. Not so much the spider, but definitely Billy Joel. But yeah, just like one of those, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then we put on a gas mask because we had to create this poison gas that can kill Rock Lobster, or weaken him at least to where he can be damaged. So we have our boss fight with Rock Lobster, and it's just in this area where we got to pull these levers after downing him.
It's a little anticlimactic.
Yes. I did not get hit by him once, and I did this fight twice.
I think I may have gotten hit by him once, but at that point, I still had, like, health packs.
Oh, I ended this game with 8 full heals. So, yeah. But yeah, we shoot him, he falls over the edge, and he's holding on, and then we just take the shotgun and shoot him in the face, and he falls down to his death.
I did like that.
That was fun.
I mean, really? Are you gonna save the monster? Really?
No.
Oh, you can maybe still appeal to his humanity. No, I can't. Also not my job.
So we, after that, Rock Lobster has damaged our gas mask, so we're now breathing in this stuff. We get another flashback to Christopher. He goes into the mines. He sees the gas mask girl show up. And there's a note there. And this is where the story kind of comes into play, and how Roberto is important. Is that this letter that she leaves behind, she is writing to Roberto and calling her daddy. And it's signed 2040. I think it's in 2040 or somewhere around there.
I vaguely remember this now.
Yeah. And then Christopher goes down one of the mine shafts, and he comes out into this area that looks like, I couldn't even describe it. It looks like the outside, like there's foliage and stuff, but there's like this, I don't know if it's like a spaceship or something. Something's there. And I think that's where he got this artifact. I don't know.
I just want to say something. They really lean on the gas mask girl. Like, I mean, that's what the cover. I'm pretty sure it's her. I'm pretty sure it's not the monster. Anyways, it's like, guys, it's a person in a gas mask. It ain't that cool.
Yeah.
I feel like if you asked me when I was in high school to design like a cool character, I probably would have put a character in a gas mask. But like, it's a gas mask. It just is. At the end of the day, that is you're really limiting yourself on creative design.
No, Kojima already did it.
And yeah, I mean,
Twice, actually.
yeah, and that's twice.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a minute. Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me who the other person is. Psycho Mantis,
and then one of the Beauty and the Beast core.
Oh well, that's all because they reference.
Yeah, they're all references.
I mean,
to
that's
the original.
that doesn't count because it's literally a reference to Psycho Mantis.
Oh, come on. Anyway, so yeah, we get to our the choice. The final chapter is the choice, and very Kojima-esque.
Choose what achievement do you want?
Yeah, so you're slowly crawling to where you need to be. You start to pass out. You can't move. You see Stephanie there. She's talking with Christopher, and Christopher pulls out a knife and stabs her and kills her. You're like, oh no! And
the character I have no feelings for has been stabbed. All right.
And
remember that time in the hallway? All those times we had together.
Yep, all those phone call conversations.
But it's like okay, come on, like Stephanie is a little girl, you know? Like,
wait, what?
Am I not remembering this right?
There was a woman, an adult.
Oh,
woman.
right, duh. Okay, right. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking the little gas mask girl. Right.
I don't know what the gas mask girl's name is.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I confused this. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
He stabbed Stephanie, the woman we've been talking to.
Right. Oh my god. Yeah.
She was apparently working with him.
But again, like it just really, how am I supposed to feel bad for this person? You know,
you don't. And
right, the gas mask girl's in the past. Oh.
Yeah, the gas mask girl is in the I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm confused because to this day I'm not really sure what happened. I did the things because they were in the game.
Yeah, and he gives us a choice: join him or shoot him. I guess he's going to give you that. So I didn't know what to do, so I said, "Screw it, join him." So I joined him first, and basically, you and him rule the world. I don't know. He's got big plans. He's immortal, apparently.
You know, not to be followed up in a sequel.
Yeah, and then if you choose to shoot him, he's like, "This shouldn't have happened. This is not supposed to happen this way," and you then release the girl, and you're holding her in your arms.
That's okay. That's where I was. That's why I was going to say I thought the little girl was there.
Yeah, she is.
Right.
She's
okay,
in, like,
that's the reason why I'm confused. That's right. It's
a
fucking this whole sequence. Yeah, she's in the water. I guess she's some sort of power conduit.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I was confused. I'm like, no, the little girl was there. And that's right. I forgot you meet Stephanie in person for like one moment.
Yeah.
And then they're like, please have an emotional moment with the fact that Stephanie has been shot. Why? You mean the person that led me here? I'm supposed to feel?
Who was working with the bad guy the whole time?
Yeah, who was working with the bad guy the whole time? Like, I'm really not... Like, fuck you, Stephanie, and fuck this dickhead. So, that should have been the third option. Just shoot everybody.
So, from what I can gather...
Okay, hold on. Let me brace myself for the story.
From what
deep lore breakdown from Drew.
All right. Christopher finds this artifact in a mine. He gains powers that, I guess, almost immortal. He doesn't age.
Yes, that I figured out. That I understood. Bad guy is immortal. Makes sense.
During this time in the 30s or whenever this was, he runs into this girl who time travels. She leaves this note about her father, Roberto. Christopher, I guess, comes up with this idea that he's going to deal with her in the future because she's constantly time traveling, right? She's basically displaced because we see her all the time.
Let's just make it clear. Then how the fuck did he capture her?
Don't know. They captured her and put her in a tube.
How is she in the tube? She's anywhere she wants to be at any point in time.
Maybe
this is the Dr. Manhattan don't think too hard because it falls apart very quickly.
Maybe he was, since he's immortal, he's got all the time he needs, so he had a syringe with some kind of knockout medication, and she just waited for her to time travel, and he grabbed her and stabbed her with it, knocked her out, put her in the tube.
This is literally a Half-Life thing too. I won't say anymore, but just
So
it's how does that work? Don't think about it. Okay.
So he gets this girl, and I guess he's using her to get to Roberto because he's the father of her. I don't.
Yeah, but I feel like there's an easier way to do that.
Well, my thing is like I guess he.
But I guess he's got the camera that can see in through time. Like I realize, like he have a camera that sees through, see through time, and like it just there's how do I put this? There's a point where like it becomes very hard to accept any more nonsense.
Yeah, and
like the little girl just doesn't make sense. It feels like they were trying to go for fear. And didn't really. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm glad they didn't. Because we've seen what fear turns into when you follow through.
Oh, man.
Some weird, creepy, please don't think about it too hard because you don't want to think about it at all shit.
I'll be honest with you, man. Fear 2 scared the living crap out of me.
Yeah, Fear 2, though, has the most uncomfortable sequence where Alma maybe hops on the main character.
Oh wow, I don't remember this.
Dude, do you not remember Point Man and Faxton Petal are Alma's kids? Fear 2 is a prequel. And the main character is the dad.
Oh wow.
And it's just like and like clearly he is not giving consent.
Oh boy.
Don't think about it too hard. It gets really fucked up. So I'm really glad they didn't go down the like ripping off Fear more, but they also failed to understand that like Alma is a known presence pretty early on. You know what I mean? Like I know nowadays, but like she's always kind of there, and you learn about her. This character is there for a little bit, gone for a long time, and like you never really exactly know what the fuck she's doing. Yeah. And you don't know her motivation.
I think.
And why was there a hotel built on like a base? Like, just there's questions. Again, the framework of a game is here, and the framework of a story is here. But they really nailed parts of the gameplay, and then they were like, I don't know how to write a story. Again, maybe that's a translation issue. I'll give them credit and say maybe we lost stuff in translation, but still.
So the thing I think of is a lot like Infamous. So
as someone that loves Infamous, okay. I don't see it.
I think what happened was Christopher in the 30s had a random chance to meet this girl. This girl is a future experiment of Christopher's. And so I feel like from the 1930s when he runs into her up till we play as Roberto, he is trying to get to the point where this girl is. because I think like that's what he's leading up to. He has seen his completed experiment. Now he wants to make sure it happens. If you know what I mean, because he's immortal, right? I think that's what happened. I don't know, but if that's the case, he already has her in the fucking tube. Why does he need?
And then what's with Brock Lobster and Billy Joel and the spiders? You know, like that's the reason why I just kind of treated this as a game. You know, I fucking hate that John Carmack said this, but like he's sometimes right. Who gives a shit about a story in a video game? I'm misquoting him, but he said that like gameplay is important, stories aren't. When it comes to video games, gameplay wise, I really enjoy Fobia. Story wise, I mean, I don't remember the story. Like you had to re-explain the story to me because I don't remember it because it wasn't important. Like I remember doing stuff in the flashbacks, and I remember that there was like the bad guy. You're playing as him, and you're kind of like it's giving you the history, but there's a long gap in between the past and then how there's a fucking hotel there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's one of those like okay, and then there's a lot of time from when the hotel is there, and then you're in the hotel in the future when Stephanie calls you.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is not a detriment to the game. I feel like Fobia is going to be one of those games where I'm not going to think about it anymore until somebody's like, hey, you remember Fobia? And I was like, oh yeah, I really like that game. That was cool.
That's how I've kind of felt. That's the reason why, like, when we talk about indie games that I guess kind of surprised me, Fobia kind of did.
Yeah.
Again, not a perfect game, and maybe I scored it too high. I don't know. I still... All my complaints are because I want the game to be better, not that the game should. How do I put this? There's two ways I think to look at games. There are games that you play and you see the potential and the missed opportunities, and then there are games that are just. Like, I mean, I guess there's also games that are just like exactly what you want, but those are rare. And the other ones are games that seem to fail at what they're clearly attempting.
Yeah.
And I don't think this game fails at what it's attempting.
No.
I think it just overlooked parts of it. Like, get a better writer. And really work on the combat, and then I think this game, and keep the fixing this game. Keep the hotel, keep all the puzzles, change the amount of damage you do with a gun, add 2 more enemies.
Yeah, I need some more variety.
Make it so and when I say 2 more enemies, make the hotel. Just the bugs and the people, right? The zombies. And then have the underground have different things in them.
Yeah, have worse things in them.
Mm-hmm. Maybe some more weapons would be nice. I'm not saying, really change it, but, tell me it wouldn't be fun to go through with a grenade launcher, right? Not that would make sense to be there, but still. Yeah. Or a crossbow, because we're already talking about old stuff. But those are all things that are things you can add in the future, in the next Fobia. It's not like I play this game and I go, it's broken. On a design level, I don't understand why they would make this choice. We've talked about it. We make fun of Ryan for it, but I don't blame him for not liking weapon degradation in the new Zelda games.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, but I also don't blame people for not liking it. It's a choice that is made and is going to be divisive. I don't think bad choices were made in this game. I think
different choices were made.
I think choices made out of time and budget were made.
Yeah.
So and unfortunately I don't think this game did all that great. sales wise.
I'm curious.
The people that,
did.
from what I can find, the people that play this game generally like it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's charming, and I feel like it's almost rude to say to a horror game.
No,
but like charming in the sense that, again, rolling back to a statement I made previously, passion. There is a love for not just horror games, but like games in general. These people that make these games play games.
Yeah.
And not in a sense of, I'm playing Silent Hill and I want more Silent Hill. I play Silent Hill and I want to be the next person that is remembered for making a horror game.
Yeah. It's got a lot of ambition.
Yeah.
I call them the little engines that could. There's another game in the same vein as this that I champion. It's called The Chant.
I will play that at some point.
The Chant feels a lot like Fobia. It feels
really?
like all right. It's a third.
I know what you're talking about. Like in terms of
quality.
Yeah, not A tier. Maybe a low B tier game, but more not because it's like a studio that just churns out work. Because that's the other thing too. Like, you say this is a B tier game. Well, there's B tier studios like Earth Defense Force where it's like they're not striving for anything else.
Yeah.
Sandlot and Ukes, they put out those games to be those games, which is fine. But like, I, as someone that likes Earth Defense Force, have lost sort of my interest in that series because like the passion ain't there anymore. Yeah. It's not a bunch of people just making weird shit that's experimental. It's just a formula.
Yeah.
So, Tori, tell me more about The Chant, because I do want to know more about it.
The Chant's a third-person horror game. I would say it's about...
Would you say it's horror as, like, in Fobia as a horror game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're dealing with stuff that's kind of eldritch. So... God, how do I describe this? So, you play as this woman who gets invited by a friend to go to this, like, retreat on an island. And when she gets there, everybody's like, it's like a cult. And I think she even asked that. So that's the thing. The writing and the acting and the chant is really good with the exception of one guy. One guy, I feel like, had to have been a programmer or something.
I was going to say, I am a friend of the programmer who has been brought on to read the script.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bad. But everybody else in that game is fantastic.
People.
It's fantastic. Everything else in that's fantastic. But I mean, the main character, she's like, "Hey, is this a cult?" And and they're like, "No, it's not a cult. It's just we're cleansing ourselves and stuff like that." They're big in like
commune.
Yeah, it's a commune.
It's a commune, and then you have sex with the leader. Come on, that's not a cult.
Well, what happens is that the leader of this has been like reading a bunch of material that he found, and come to find out, they do like this little seance one night, and it's real. I think he even mentions, I thought this was just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but he does this chant, and it actually makes like this eldritch shit start coming up out of the ground, like the plants come to life and stuff like that, and it's kind of creepy, right? And you have to fight your way through it. You have to find all the other members of the commune and try to be like, "Hey, I need you to help me." And the problem is they're also getting corrupted by the chant. And so it's really cool because like each section, I would say it's a very minor Metroidvania because like you'll go through a section of the island that's like you're trying to find somebody. Like we're trying to find Eric. And when we find Eric, he's been corrupted by the chant. And when you beat him, you get a new ability that then lets you go to the next part of the island. So I'm
looking at screenshots of it, and like, yeah, it feels like it's got the horror aesthetic, but it's not necessarily. It feels more like Alan Wake 1 in a sense of that way, where it's a horror aesthetic, but it's not really a horror game.
Yeah, but I will champion that game forever. I really, really like that game, but there is some issues with it. You know, it's a B tier. It's a B tier game. I think it came out at $40, maybe $50.
$25 Canadian, so it's probably $20 American.
Now, I mean, it's just a couple years old now.
Yeah, it's only 2022.
Yeah, but that it's like I really enjoyed that game. It was I called it like the little engine that could. You know, it's like I was cheering for the game the whole time. You know, like, oh man, I want this to be just a little bit better. You know, but I'm enjoying what I'm saying. You can see the blueprints of a fantastic experience, but there's just a few things there, whether it be budget or whether it be time.
You put on your galoshes. You're gonna have to wade through a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just a little bit, not a lot.
But I mean, maybe this is a bigger discussion, not for this podcast. Maybe it's better for an intermission of little games that could. But like, I find those are the games that I end up loving more.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into with a AAA game.
Well, but do you? Like, nowadays, you know, Resident Evil 2, when I played it, the remake, you know, I think that's a masterpiece. I think it's a brilliant, it's exactly what I expect from a horror game, and I loved every moment of it. Now, knowing kind of what I know about the original Resident Evil 2, there's just some minor disappointments. Like, I wish the stories were more interconnected, but I kind of knew what I was getting there. But a lot of AAA games, like, do you? I just bought the new Super Mario Wonder game, and I kind of had bigger expectations for it. Not to say that's a bad game at all. It's great. I'll remember it. Of course I will. It's kind of ubiquitous. But, like, I think as a game player, the smaller games that try to achieve more with less always sort of will be the games that stick with me more.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's a big title now, but things like Ico, right? Like, yeah, Ico had Sony's backing, but I mean, though that game is a janky little mess of, you know, a few programmers just doing their own thing. You know, and then they got Shadow of the Colossus, which was a bigger success, but you know, they're still little janky things. Like they're things they're things that by all accounts should be a massive failure. Yeah. And yet somehow they're oh my god, they're the Rudy of video games. But you know, I think that's the reason why like people like myself loved Earth Defense Force when it first showed up, because it's like nothing else. And there's so many games like that I don't know. Like one of the other ones is, and it's one of the few I reviewed. Dead in Vinland. Dead in Vinland is such a weird title that I'm just like, that is such a brilliant concept. And you know, there's nothing kind of like it. Like, I don't think, like, is there any Resident Evil game or Silent Hill game that has as many puzzles as fucking Fobia does?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
Phobia's trying to go for witness levels of puzzles.
Yeah. Like, I would say the first two Resident Evils on PlayStation had a good amount of puzzles, but to be honest with you, a lot of the puzzle solving in that game was inventory management. It was I've got this thing, now I've got to go back to where I was. You know, there's a lot of backtracking, and they did have some puzzles in there that you had to figure out. You know, it's
lockers and stuff. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's not bad.
I know Silent Hill was more direct with puzzles, but they were usually mandatory.
Yeah.
Like I know the notorious piano puzzle from 2. Or is that 1? Regardless.
I can't remember.
I think it's 2, but yeah, I think it's 2 because it's one of the few that I don't think changes based on the clock, the start time of the game.
But, you know, thinking about those indie games that had a lot of heart to them. There was another one that I still champion. Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom.
I need to play that. I have it.
It's really good. That's really good. I mean,
can we just say we're gonna do this as a intermission now, right?
Sure.
Like, really find some weird shit that you champion to hell and back. Because I think I'm even interested in hearing not just your stuff, but like listeners' stuff too.
Yeah.
We may have done something similar before, to be fair, but I think if we kind of limit ourselves to like stuff that just isn't, because we've done hidden gems, but I think that's a bit of a different statement, because there's stuff that's unknown that is still perfect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm talking like the stuff that's got some jank you have to fucking wade through.
Yeah.
That is worthwhile still. There's something, I don't know, just about that I'm like, if I'm willing to, I know you don't like it, but Deadly Premonition 1 is that for me.
I think that's a lot more shit to wade through than what I like to do.
I think if the writing was any less weird, I would totally agree.
I mean, I don't know. You can be weird without being shitty.
I like that type of, I mean, you know, it reminds me of a lot of Sandlot stuff, which is the people that did Earth Defense Force originally, and Robotic Alchemic Drive, and this like flat sort of terrain, these really bad textures that just like, fuck it, it's a forest. Like, don't ask questions. It looks like shit, but you know where you are. You know, here's a thing of water. We put a slight reflective texture over this like invisible or this clear polygon, and that's just what water looks like here. I don't, you know, can you go swimming? Can you interact? No, physics don't exist in this world. Everything is just a block sliding on another block.
I don't know, like his games. If you want to have a game like that, go play Suda51's shit.
You need to play Spy Fiction. That's the only one I'll tell you that is actually a good playing game of Swearies. Because he just ripped off Metal Gear Solid. But I think that's an interesting concept that we should probably explore in depth. Because Fobia is that for me. If I could sum up my opinion, like, that is what Fobia is. And knowing that it goes on discount, and I just told you to buy the Anima games the other day too.
And I did buy them.
Yay!
So I have them.
Fucking budget near, guys. Budget near.
Yeah. So we do have an email.
I'm assuming it's from Dustin.
It is from Dustin.
Because he's the only other person I think that was playing it.
Yeah. What the fuck's Fobia? It's titled Fa La 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 Obia. It says, what's up? So I did go back and do a run-through of the hotel before taking the elevator to the lab. I didn't find much but the machine gun and revolver. I was annoyed since I knew there was so much more so I knew that there was more, so I checked the guide, and man, I wouldn't have found the gears for the wall puzzle to get the fear file. Wait, what? Hang on.
Here's where Drew finds out he left something behind.
I wouldn't have found the gears for the wall puzzle to get you the fear file. Also,
yeah, that makes sense to me.
Also, I can't even remember where the lockbox keys were, so I wouldn't have found them either. And most of these puzzles only get you a file that don't add much to the story. So I'm not really sure why Christopher went crazy and killed everyone at the mining village. They didn't really explain it. The underground lab...
I just took it as capitalism.
Yeah, it's mine now. Bang. The underground lab was pretty straightforward. You find some random guy was doing tests on his son, and that's what became Rock Lobster. It's funny how in this final fight he looks like a kid, but when he chases you, he's basically Nemesis. Also, that final boss was a joke. I didn't even get hit
Yeah.
once, and all I used was a shotgun. I didn't even fire the machine gun or revolver once this entire playthrough, since I was expecting some tough boss with a couple of forms at the end. I have a few questions about the cadaver of the women in the very first lab. She's there the entire time until after Rock Lobster chase, and she's randomly gone. What happened to her? Also, while I was thinking the little girl and the adult women that we've been in contact with were the same person, but
see, okay, ending... I in my head, that's what happened. I just conflated two characters into one.
Yeah, but in the ending, debunked that theory. I don't know how I feel about the ending at all. I did choose to join Christopher, but honestly, I don't think it matters much. I guess the girl was my daughter, but that wasn't really explained well, and Rock Lobster just seemed so random to the overall story of Christopher than time travel and being a god. I wish everything was explained better. I liked the game overall, but the ending didn't do much for me. Some other random thoughts. I liked the little nods to Silent Hill and Resident Evil. The sound design was good, and I was creeped out a few times. Why did Rock Lobster ditch his outfit after we dropped the pipes on him? Why was he even wearing it?
That is a good question. I think it still goes back to the whole. At some point, someone in the group was like, "Guys, gas masks are cool," yep. Which again is like cool when you're 16, and like you now have money and you can buy a gas mask. But as soon as you put one on for the first time and you realize, wow, this kind of sucks. There's a reason why it's not a fashion statement for most people. It's just the thing you have to do to survive.
Yeah. Speaking of which, when our gas mask broke, why didn't we just grab a new one instead of crawling all over the damn lab? Anyway, that's all I got.
Game design.
Well, thank you for that email, Dustin.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad that I didn't horribly disappoint you like I did with Anodyne. But I don't know. Again, like, if some part of me on some level says you should really criticize this game more because there's some faults, but I'm just so okay with it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's the thing. Is like it's a fine game.
I gotta write some Fobia fan fiction.
Oh God!
Explain away the plot holes. What happened to his clothes? I don't know. He got so hot he burnt them out.
He breathes through his skin.
Oh. Oh no!
We can go full Kojima.
You know, as much as I hate some of Kojima's bullshit, and I know you didn't like Death Stranding because I felt Death Stranding did a better job of explaining the bullshit. He does explain his bullshit.
Dude, all the way up until past the ending, after the credits rolled, I was still thinking that the fucking baby was him.
How did you think that?
Because that's what they like. Because they kept like alliterating it.
No, that was okay. Okay, now I have to have the discussion. Death Stranding. Welcome to Phoenix Down. Episode blah blah blah. That is that I figured it out about half, like around the midpoint of all those flashbacks. Because the bridge baby is seeing it. Because the whatever, I can't remember what he ends up calling the bridge baby.
BB, I don't know.
But yeah, BB. She's seeing his memories because they hook up together, right? Like they actually hook into each other's system.
Yeah.
So when it zooms in on her eye, Kojima, this is one of the few things where I'll be like, I'm glad he's a fan of cinema. He's tricking you into thinking that you're seeing BB's background, right? Like you're seeing BB's past with Mads and everything. However, I remember messaging Ken and being like, motherfucker, that's not BB's memories. That's fucking his memories. And BB is seeing it. That's the reason why we watch BB's eyes open when the memory comes back. Because BB's, what you're witnessing it now through BB's eyes, not his, because you play the game through his, and then Kojima zooms in on BB's face, and BB is seeing his memories that he forgot.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense now, but I feel like the game did not explain that enough for me.
I felt he did a really good job of setting you up to think, I'm watching BB's memories, and then rug pulling you and going, no, Sam was a bridge baby as well. And that's where I went, motherfucker. And that's the reason why he's I gotta hate the term, but repatriate. Because he was a bridge baby. That's the reason why when he dies, he can come back.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he can visit the beach. The only other person that can visit the beach and the real world. Well, there's two people. God, what's his name? Troy Baker's character.
Troy Baker.
Because he has direct connection to the president, right? Whatever her name is, I can't remember all the names. And the other person is Hartman.
Yeah, because he dies constantly.
He dies and then gets brought back. So I was like, because I was trying to figure out what made Sam special, and then as soon as you realize Sam was a bridge baby, and then it explains like why Mads Mikkelsen, and yeah, I don't know. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was one of the few times where like Kojima's love of cinema made him frame the sequence to trick the audience into believing something that if he had just said it outright would have kind of given it away, I think. Because usually Kojima's really verbose rather than he's a lot of tell don't show. He'll show, but generally he'll tell you too, right? Which kind of defeats the point of showing. If you're just gonna have the people talk about it fucking afterwards and beforehand, he doesn't talk about it because he's going to put the cuts in to show you, to imply one thing and actually mean another. I went to art school. I can't help that. Like that's a nerdy thing for me, but that I remember being so excited figuring that out. And Ken's like, I'm not going to tell you, and because he just wanted me to finish it. And then I messaged Ken when I found it out for sure, and I'm like, motherfucker, I was right. Because it's just like, for Kojima, someone who very clearly watches a lot of movies.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, his movie understanding comes more through like as a sense of trivia and references, rather than understanding mise en scène. So like he understands how a shot is composed, but doesn't understand that you use the composure to say something as well. Because like he'll do certain scenes, but I'm like, it looks cool, but it's not saying anything with the way the camera's moving. Like I guess the best example, not to try to nerd out too much, but like go look at like Citizen Kane. He's doing stuff like I'll have to find better examples, but like there's ways that the camera moves, and the way like zooming in and focusing on certain aspects changes the understanding of the plot. But now I question, because you didn't get it, like I'm wondering if unfortunately it's like a thing that you only pick up if you've kind of been told that's a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's a flaw of that method now.
Oh, maybe I'm just an idiot.
No, I don't think so.
Because Matt thought the same thing.
Like with me?
No, me.
Yeah, see, that makes me think that might be a fundamental flaw. That I picked up on it because, unfortunately, like when you go to school for art, the first part of it is very generic. right? Because they want you to find where you're going to focus on. Some people paint, some people draw, blah blah blah. And so they did film study, right? And so like you get taught certain things. So if you're not taught that, do audiences understand that? Like, does Christopher Nolan do things in his movies that are for fucking cinemaphiles? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's a thing that, like, I've never thought, I guess, of not picking up those signs because I've been told about it so long. And now I wonder, like, maybe I'm an outlier. Maybe it's poorly told, and I just happen to fumble into the answer, right? Like, I don't know. That's interesting that both you and Matt. God damn it! I need to listen to those.
I don't hate that game.
You don't love that game.
I don't love that game. No.
And I'm the opposite. I love that game. I do not want to play a sequel to that game, though. Let me tell you right now. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do, but I don't think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, that story was complete.
Yeah, I would say it was at least done.
Like, I got all my answers. I don't think there was anything that was kind of left. There's no threads left. There's no strands left unanswered. But I to me, like, I felt that was his most coherent work outside of, like, Boktai, which was just fantasy vampires and cowboys. Because, man, Metal Gear gets me going sometimes about stupid shit.
There's a lot of stupid shit in Metal Gear, but I don't know. That Metal Gear Solid, man.
Metal Gear Solid 1, no complaints.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 2, some complaints. Metal Gear Solid 3, I have a lot of complaints. None of them are about the gameplay. Just, we're now moving into dumb story time.
Man. Yeah.
Don't you know everybody seems to know each other and they've known each other for decades? That's not how fucking anything works. We're moving into Star Wars territory now where everybody knows everybody. It's all about the Skywalkers. It's all about the snakes.
My thing is, and I think I've mentioned it on one of the podcasts, the problem I have with Star Wars, especially the new trilogy, that first movie, they show Han Solo, and the big line of, like, the Jedi, it was all real. I was like, literally, this was 20 years ago. You guys had a war with mystical fucking people and lightsabers.
The problem with that movie is J.J. Abrams can't write fucking anything. I'm sorry, I can't. J.J. Abrams is awful. I know people don't like Rian Johnson's movie, and that's totally fine. It's divisive, and I totally get that people feel that character assassination went on and stuff, but, like, J.J. Abrams... I'm going to say something right now. Hideo Kojima writes some dumb bullshit. But I always genuinely think Kojima has a plan for everything. Even if I don't like the answer. J.J. Abrams doesn't plan for shit. He doesn't have any follow-through, and it shows in his last movie, in that Star Wars trilogy. He's the guy you come in to make a big splash. He knows how to make a pitch, and he can't end it. That is the problem with... Like, I'm sorry, I've tried writing, like, creative writing, and that is... I can get you an ending, and I can get you a beginning, but I cannot get you the in-between. J.J. Abrams can get you just the beginning. That is not how a fucking story is told. Can you imagine, like, the biggest part of the story happening in the intro, and then having to figure out how you're going to top that? No, of course not, because that's not how a story is told. You can work your way back, right, and then revisit that area, but, like, Lost is about a plane crashing, and that is literally where that story begins. He was told to make a pilot, so he was like, and he was given a bunch of money, so he made an interesting pilot. They had no foresight of where it was going to go. Fringe, same thing. Here's a bunch of money, make a thing. He made a thing, and then he leaves because he's not interested in doing that. He's interested in making a spectacle, and that's how that works. That's how Star Wars was. It's just, to me, Star Wars in general, and this is not criticism of the new movies or the old movies or the expanded universe, did a fairly decent job. The original expanded universe, now what is it called, the Legacy or whatever, Legends,
I don't know,
did a good job of understanding that the world does not revolve around a single entity. So yes, they ran into each other. Things happened in the same universe. It is treated like a neighborhood, but like, is there a main character in your neighborhood? If there is, there's usually a problem.
yeah,
Like, you don't know everybody in your neighborhood, but you're all living separate lives. That's how characters work. And that's the problem with a lot of things nowadays, but Star Wars is like the key factor. So good and evil surround one family. I'm going to be honest with you, everybody in that like, I think it's multiple galaxies, all the people in that galaxy should rise up and just kill the Skywalker clan, because it's just easier to wipe them off the face of the planet, because you'll probably have less problems.
yeah,
It's just that, I'm sorry, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings, you could say falls into that same camp, but it really doesn't, because all the lore that comes before and after The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings story have nothing to do with the Baggins family.
yeah,
Right? The Baggins family are inserts, and the other characters go on to live other lives, but they don't just exist in that moment. And that's the thing, like, the only fault I really have at the end of the day with all the big overall story of Metal Gear Solid is it's all about Big Boss. And somehow the whole world's war, all the wars in the world revolve around Big Boss. It's kind of weird. But I think he at least explains why it does that very well, which is not an explanation of the Skywalkers. Yeah. But now we're just rambling about other shit. Sorry.
it's okay.
I go off on Star Wars because it's just one of those things where it's like, I want so much better for that fan base, and we used to have it with the extended universe stuff. And when Disney decided to get away with it, they didn't offer something that was better. And that's just disappointing to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been the biggest Star Wars fan.
All I'm saying is I know who stole the Death Star plans in my heart. Even though they've told that story like twice in video games, but...
Well, but yeah, that's it.
This is Fobia. We ended up talking about Star Wars and other shit.
No big deal. We do it all the time.
Okay. I always feel like I ramble off and I just steer the conversation away from the game at certain points.
It doesn't bother me. We're fine. I appreciate everybody listening.
Yes, thank you for tolerating me again.
The email is drew@ztgd.com. Please send us some emails. You can suggest games to us. You can tell us about Fobia. You can
definitely. I realize I'm signing you up for emails, but like, even if we don't end up doing an episode, because what I'll do is like I'll have Drew just kind of pass the emails along to me as well. If you send them in, I do want to hear, even if we don't do an episode, about games that you know are not perfect but you love.
Yeah,
especially the lesser known stuff. Not asking for like, hidden gems. I think that's a term that's overused. I mean, like, the stuff that even though a lot of people may have played it, you still see the good in it over the bad. Because there's just a lot of stuff that, like, ends up going on for like sale for like $10 at some point, and it's just like, I don't need to have this big AAA experience all the time. Sometimes I just want to have fun, and games like Fobia, I think, allow that a lot more than a super play tested, perfect down to the mathematical equation, fun per hour sort of situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Fuck around, find out. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's send those in. Definitely, I want to hear from you guys. Give me some indie little games that could.
I'm gonna quote, and I think everybody should watch their channel because they are just good vibes all around. But stop skeletons from fighting. Derek Alexander has a term, that good garbo. And
that good garbo.
Movies, music, that stuff that is just, there's not, in some sense you should be more critical, but there's just something about it that just says, man, this is just passion right here. This is just good vibes. Love that shit.
Yeah, send them in. Drew@ZTGD.com. You can also follow me on Twitter if you want. I don't really tweet much anymore. But I'm at DML Fury. The podcast itself is at ZTGD Phoenix Down. But that's going to be it for us. Our next game is going to be The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is Dead Space. We're doing Dead Space Remake. I've had that game since launch and have never played it.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm a big Dead Space fan.
I've never played the original.
The original is really good still.
I have all 3 games on Xbox 360. I need to go through them. It's a game that I'm going to play the original. I don't have anything to play the new one on right now, but it is a game I will next year. My hope is, because I don't have a new console and I'm gonna not super upgrade my PC so I can play all the new stuff on my PC either, is to go back and really go through the stuff I have left in my blind spot. And I think Dead Space, I want to play the Lost Planet series too. Just really kind of explore those games that I missed in that era.
Yeah. Oh man, Dead Space is so good. But yeah, we're going to be doing the remake of Dead Space. That's probably going to wrap up our theme for the year, which was the triple R's, remake, remasters, triple S's. What was it? Spiritual successors, sequels, and something else. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
What's the first planned game after Nightmare? Before Christmas.
I have no clue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had more of this thought out.
No. Our theme for this year was that.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We did
because you did RE4.
Yeah, we did games that we have previously played, either their sequels, their remakes, or their spiritual successors. Basically.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. And I don't know if we're even going to have a theme next year. I'm just going to sit down.
Quantum Error.
No. I'm going
Bad Games Part 2. Come on, boys.
No, I'll never do that again. Never.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
No, that was a nightmare.
For Christmas.
It's a nightmare of the whole fucking year.
Just whole year, yeah.
Yeah.
I only put 20 minutes into Perfect Weapon. But those 20 minutes felt like it took years off my life. And did you know we avoided that game's engine was used again. I don't think people talk about it because I don't think people know about Perfect Weapon as much.
Mm-hmm.
But that same studio made that terrible Crow game.
Oh, really?
And if you look at the Crow game and you look at Perfect Weapon, they look like they're probably I think the Crow was a reskin on Perfect Weapon, basically.
Wow.
Not like a 1-to-1, but we took the engine and we just kind of redid the main character and stuff.
Nah, I'm good. But yeah.
Damnation.
Fuck. The Quiet Man.
Okay, Quiet Man. The Quiet Man is the reverse opposite of Fobia. There's no saving it. It was a bad idea, and it was a bad idea from start to finish.
Yes.
On a design doc level. Phobia's design doc probably was what if we did this and that? And it's cool. But yeah, no. Oh God, I forget about the Quiet Man. Oh my God, it's so bad.
It's bad.
The whole game is silent. What? That's not how deaf people live.
So bad. So dumb. Oh.
So you want to fuck the girl that looks like your mother.
Oh.
And so does your dad. And your best friend. How is it? It's It's even fucking... Oh, my God. And, man, 12 minutes could have been on that fucking...
Well, we didn't know that at the time.
Oh, God. It would have gone... 12 minutes and Quiet Man are, like, the perfect pairing of weird, incestuous relationships and also terrible fucking games.
Oh, no. That fucking game. It was so bad.
I can't believe we can have incest and bad games together so many times.
Well,
it's almost like it's a terrible idea.
We did. God. The thing is 12 minutes could have been good.
12 minutes, the third time I got caught doing something different, I was just like, I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm like,
and then
okay.
I do something and I'm like, okay, I've solved it. And they're like, no. The idea wasn't to survive the 12 minutes, you stupid fuck. And I was like, I don't know what the goal of this game is. They're like, you're trying to find out more information. So I was just like, eventually like, I'm just gonna look this info up. And then I looked it up and I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
I beat it.
I did not. I fucking failed. I was like, goodbye, I'm done. Like, the whole, you have to time the thunder. Oh, fuck, you have to time the thunder to tell her. Like, that's the thing that tells her that you're from the future, even though you could just say, look, there's a guy that's about to knock on the door, and here's exactly what he's going to say to you. Like, really? Oh, yeah, fucking... I think Quiet Man was a better game than 12 minutes.
Ooh, my God, man.
Yeah, because you know what? This Quiet Man only made me go through it twice. 12 minutes made me go through it how many times?
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And one of them has... And 12 minutes has Willem Dafoe. And you're gonna tell me... like, and it's somehow fucking worse.
I don't know. Ugh.
So you want to fuck your sister.
Yeah. So you fucked your sister. And you're having a baby. Oh my God. Alright, anyway, that's gonna be it for us. Oh, I don't know when we're gonna start Dead Space. I'm gonna talk with Matt. He's still got 2 more days in NaNoWriMo.
Yeah, I guess he does.
Yep. And we'll see. We'll try to start it. We may start it next week. I don't know. But that's it. Until next time, I am Drew.
I'm Anthony.
And we are out of here. You guys have a great week, and we will be back with the beginning of Dead Space.
Darkness call your name. There's no way to hide the pain inside. It's like a parasite of souls. Your side and nobody knows. Lord Housekeeper, enter through the front door. Come to play a game. Come to play with us. Come to play the game of the thing that eats people. Sing with me. Sing with us. When when the darkness call your name. There's no way to hide the pain inside. It's like a parasite of souls. Your side, they're no